The air was entirely still on the afternoon of November 27, 2020. A black sedan drove quietly down a rural highway near Absard, a remote mountain retreat just outside Tehran. Inside the vehicle sat a highly protected individual and his wife, flanked by a convoy of heavily armed security personnel. Ahead of them, a blue pickup truck sat abandoned on the shoulder of the empty road. There were no operatives hiding in the brush. There were no marksmen positioned on the distant ridges. The perimeter was completely clear. Yet, in a matter of seconds, the moving vehicle would be perfectly intercepted, stopped not by human hands, but by lines of code, a satellite link bouncing from space, and an invisible operator sitting over 1,000 miles away. The man in the car was Mossad Fakhrizadeh. To the outside world, he was a shadowy academic, but within the highest echelons of international intelligence, he was identified as the driving force behind a highly classified, heavily guarded nuclear initiative. For over a decade, adversaries had tried to stop his progress. He moved through his life under a relentless, suffocating blanket of security. Bypassing that security with traditional operatives had become an absolute impossibility. The data shows a massive spike in counterintelligence operations within the region during this period, making foreign infiltration a near-guaranteed failure. The risk of capture was too high, and the political fallout would be catastrophic. The operation required a phantom. Headlines around the world would soon read that a ghost had struck from the shadows, leaving no physical trace of the attackers. This is the story of the first fully automated, artificial intelligence-driven satellite strike. To understand how this operation was executed, we have to look inside the headquarters of Israel's intelligence agency in Tel Aviv. Director Yossi Cohen stood before a massive digital map, analyzing the severe limitations of traditional espionage. Historically, neutralizing a high-value target deep inside hostile territory required immense physical risk. Operatives had to be recruited, trained, and smuggled across borders. They needed safe houses, local transportation, and extraction plans. If you look at the numbers, the majority of compromised intelligence missions fail during the extraction phase. The moment a strike occurs, borders lock down, communication networks are severed, and local authorities flood the zone. Yossi Cohen knew that putting a strike team on the ground in Absard was out of the question. They needed a way to project absolute precision into the heart of a fortified nation without risking a single operative during the climax of the event. They needed a weapon that could think for itself. But building an autonomous weapon was only the beginning of the problem. To pull this off, the agency needed to eliminate a massive variable called latency. The command center would be relying on a live feed from space. A delay of merely 3 seconds would mean absolute failure in a dynamic environment. How do you bridge 1,000 miles of lag in real time to intercept a moving vehicle? That answer would eventually rewrite the rules of modern engagement forever. The physical logistics of what happened next represent one of the most audacious smuggling operations in modern history. The chosen instrument was a highly modified FN-MAG machine gun, a weapon that, when combined with its robotic base, advanced camera systems, and explosive self-destruct mechanism, weighed roughly 1 ton. You cannot simply drive 1 ton of highly classified military hardware across a heavily fortified border. Declassified documents later revealed that the system was systematically dismantled. Over the course of several months, it was smuggled into the country piece by piece, hidden inside legitimate commercial shipments. Waiting on the ground was Yael, a deep-cover operative who had spent years blending into the local environment. Her task was terrifyingly precise. Under the cover of darkness, Yael and a small network of local assets quietly received the dismantled shipments. They secured a standard blue Nissan Zamiad pickup truck. In a hidden garage, Yael meticulously assembled the robotic apparatus, mounting the heavy weapon directly into the bed of the truck. She concealed it entirely beneath layers of tarpaulin and standard construction materials, wiring the final communication relays. The trap was physically set. Yael armed the system, verified the uplink, and immediately vanished, extracting herself from the country days before the operation went live. The hardware was in place, but planting the hardware is only half the problem. The true engineering nightmare was figuring out how to aim it. Deep inside the command center in Tel Aviv, Eli stared at his monitors. As the lead systems engineer, Eli was responsible for the remote execution of the strike. Controlling a robotic weapon from over 1,000 miles away introduces a massive, seemingly insurmountable obstacle. The live video feed transmitted from the camera on Yael's hidden truck had to beam up to a communication satellite in orbit and then bounce down to Eli's screen. It takes roughly 1.6 seconds for the video feed to reach the command center and another 1.6 seconds for Eli's physical command to reach the weapon. In a high-speed engagement, a delay of over 3 seconds is an eternity. If Eli aimed at the moving black sedan and pulled the trigger on his console, by the time the signal reached the weapon, the car would have already moved far out of the crosshairs. The environment is constantly changing. The target's speed fluctuates. The wind shifts. You cannot eliminate a protected target under those conditions using basic remote control. Eli's team realized the system required an intermediary. It needed an artificial brain, capable of correcting the human operator's inevitable errors in real time. This is where the operation crossed a terrifying technological threshold. Eli and his engineering team integrated artificial intelligence directly into the weapon's targeting matrix. The operator miles away would only need to designate the target on a screen. From that exact moment, the artificial intelligence took over. The software was specifically programmed to calculate the velocity of the approaching convoy, adjust for the precise delay of the satellite feed, and actively compensate for the heavy recoil of the weapon. But Yossi Cohen had given Eli an even more restrictive parameter. The system had to ensure absolute zero-margin precision. Fakhrizadeh frequently traveled with his wife, and the mission parameters strictly forbade collateral damage. To solve this, Eli loaded the system with advanced facial recognition software, capable of distinguishing the primary target from passengers, drivers, and bodyguards within fractions of a second, all while the vehicle was moving at highway speeds. As an intelligence official familiar with the operation later stated, it was an operation that sounded entirely like science fiction, yet the physics and the data were terrifyingly real. The culmination of years of tracking, planning, and engineering, distilled into less than 60 seconds of unprecedented precision. On that quiet Friday, Eli watched the satellite feed intensely. The convoy approached the parked blue Nissan. Suddenly, the lead security vehicle sped ahead to check the upcoming intersection, briefly leaving the primary sedan exposed. The artificial intelligence systems on the abandoned truck immediately locked onto the target. Through the camera feed, Eli identified the individual and authorized the engagement. The computer took absolute control. It tracked the sedan, accounted for the speed, adjusted for the satellite latency, and engaged. A precise burst of fire shattered the windshield. The target, perhaps believing the car had struck debris or experienced a mechanical failure, instinctively ordered the driver to stop. The vehicle slowed. The artificial intelligence recalibrated instantly, adjusting to the new stationary target. Another highly controlled burst was fired. Exactly 15 bullets left the barrel of the hidden weapon. The target was neutralized with devastating accuracy. His wife, sitting mere inches away in the exact same vehicle, was completely unharmed. Before the surviving security detail could even comprehend where the attack had originated, the final phase of the operation initiated. A massive explosive charge, built directly into the bed of the blue Nissan by Yael days prior, detonated. The goal was to vaporize the entire robotic apparatus, leaving nothing but twisted metal and confusion. The screen in Tel Aviv went permanently black. Yossi Cohen and Eli watched the telemetry flatline. The strike was over. But the physical explosion in Absard was improperly directed. While the truck and the weapon's superficial components were destroyed, the heavy steel frame of the remote-controlled gun survived the blast. Investigators sweeping the smoldering wreckage discovered the remains of the satellite dish, the sophisticated camera systems, and the shattered robotic arm. The secret was exposed. Iranian officials were forced to admit the unbelievable reality of the situation to the public. Rear Admiral Ali Shamkhani, Secretary of the Supreme National Security Council, officially stated to the press, "The operation was very complex, using electronic equipment, and no one was present at the scene." The discovery sent a shockwave through the global intelligence community. For decades, security agencies had built their protective doctrines around stopping human beings. They trained agents to look for suspicious vehicles, to watch for individuals hiding in crowds, and to monitor the movement of known operatives. But the events of that Friday afternoon proved that the traditional walls of security no longer exist. How do you protect a target from an enemy that isn't even there? If a state actor has the resources, the advanced technology, and the patience, they can reach across borders without ever setting foot on foreign soil during the engagement. The rules of covert operations have been fundamentally rewritten by algorithms, facial recognition, and satellite relays. We are now living in an era where the physical distance between an operator and their objective is completely irrelevant. Yossi Koenen. This incident changed the future of automated military operations, but if you want to see an even crazier intelligence breakdown involving digital infiltration, you need to watch this video right here.